Hey friends, it's Rafi, and today I am playing a game here on my phone, actually, against T-Swak. It is a 15-minute game with... 10-minute game with 5 seconds of increment. And here we have the Nimzo Indian type of opening, where we are playing the Catalan Opening against it. So he takes it right away. Okay, so now I have to start thinking what to do. I could play Queen A4. He'll play Bishop D7, then I take... Then he'll play Bishop C6. Let's just develop pieces first. That pawn on C4 can always be... Not always, but usually can be captured back in a somewhat simple manner. So now Queen A4 check. He plays something, then I take on C4. I believe I should be alright in these positions. I think I can play Queen A4 check now. I'm sort of playing from memory here. I think I've looked at this line before, and I believe this is the way to play. I believe this should be the way to go. Now after Bishop D7 or Knight D7, I think I could just take this. So he just wants to play B5 right away, which to me seems a little suspect because that rook is gonna become come under some pressure, but I don't know. I think what I'm gonna do in this position is I'm going to just sort of ignore this B5 and just castle. Because my queen will be pretty active here in many of these lines. I think the queen belongs on C2. Now he'll play Bishop B7, of course. Now I'll play rook to D1. Just continuing to put pressure on this D file. My next moves might be, I don't know. Next moves maybe something like, I don't know, bishop to G5, bishop to F4, then maybe knight D2, or also I can play knight C3 right away. If knight C3, B4, then there's always knight A4. If he takes on D4, I'll take probably with my rook. Actually, I might take with the knight, because right now his light squares are definitely kind of weakish. This diagonal, h1 to a8 diagonal, is kind of weak if this light square bishop is not there. So because of that reason, if he takes on d4, I might actually consider taking with the knight instead and trading the bishops, the light square bishops, if that's what he wants to do. He chooses to push through on c4. Excuse me. I see no reason not to play knight c3 now. I feel like he's made a lot of moves, a lot of pawn moves, and really has fallen behind in development because my next move is going to be e4 now. My next move here will be e4. I'll take control of the center. I will put the bishop on f4 or g5. I'll put a rook on c1. And then maybe I'll try to break open this pawn chain that he's created on a6, b5, and c4. Maybe with a move like b3. Those are some just general ideas that I have in mind at this moment. After e4, there's also the idea of playing d5 right away. Okay, that's pretty aggressive stuff right here. Okay. I wonder what he's trying to do. After knight a4, will he play bishop to e4? If he does that, though, I can just take on c4. I believe knight a4 has to be the right way to proceed here, so I'm going to play that move. So now if I take on c4, he'll play queen takes a4. You'll just take the knight. I can't play... Knight c5, he takes... I take, bishop takes. Actually, knight c5 is a possibility. Knight c5, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. I can take on c4. But he also has this annoying move b3 here, actually. After knight c5, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, queen takes. Knight c5, knight takes, pawn takes. He has b3 in that position. I guess then I can take on c4. b3, he'll play c3. Is that good for me to allow that? I think he'll just have a really annoying passed pawn if that were to happen. Knight c5, knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes is also a possibility, actually. Yeah, so that's going to be annoying. Then I could play bishop e3. But then he'll play queen c7 or something like that, and he's defending c4. I'm not sure if I'm seeing the compensation there. For those reasons, I might just have to play b3 here. I might just have to play b3, and that's what I'll do. All right, so he played c3 as expected. Now I could right away play a3 here and just start breaking up this structure that he has. But I'm just wondering, what is... Oh, so he has a threat of bishop e4 here also. Bishop e4 is a deadly threat. That will absolutely just trap my queen, I think. Pretty much. I will have to give up the rook, actually, to save my queen. So that is the threat here. Major, major threat. Let's offer a trade of the light square bishops at this point. Knight e5, he takes, I take. Knight e5, he takes, I take. And knight g4. Knight e1. I have to improve the knight again via d3. I don't know if I want to pull my knight backwards like that. I would rather take some double pawns than to move the knight back. Let's go ahead and move the knight forward like this. He pretty much has to take on g2 now, I think. After which, I don't have to take the bishop back. I can take on d7. But I probably should take the bishop, though. Otherwise, he'll just draw the bishop back. If knight takes d7, then he'll just play something like bishop to b7 or something. And I will have lots of problems on the light squares. So now I think I'm losing a pawn, honestly. Knight e5, d e5, queen e5. Definitely loses a pawn. But maybe I'll get some compensation by playing bishop f4 with tempo. And his king is still in the center. He still hasn't gotten the f8 bishop out. I have some compensation right now for the pawn. If he plays queen d5 check, then I'll just play knight f3. Figured he would probably do that. Oh, there's a problem here. Queen takes e5, bishop f4, queen e4 check forces the queen trade. Then I'm not sure if I have enough if I'm trading off the queens. That's the problem. That is something that I did not consider too much, is that he has the queen trade option on e4. Yeah, it's going to be really problematic. Not sure if this knight e5 was the best idea, honestly. Maybe I should have been a little bit more humble and just played knight e1 and slowly put the knight back on d3. I was trying to play for dynamic compensation here and just not sure if I got that. I probably should play, I don't know. Knight b6, rook b8, knight c4, queen e4, check, queen takes, knight takes. I think I might have to play f3 here, unfortunately. I don't have many other good options I can think of to stop the queen trade. I guess I could have also played king g1. I didn't. Well, king g1, he can still play queen e4. Oh, I could have actually played. After queen e4 check, I did have rook d3. I didn't think about that too much. I should have considered that option as a. I'm not sure if that's a good idea to pin the rook like that, but it was definitely something worth considering, which I did not. Now is the time to play knight b6, rook b8, and then knight c4 is a good spot for my piece there, hitting the queen. Now keep in mind he is up a pawn still, so that's something we need to consider. I think now is a good time to play bishop f4. Yeah, bishop c7, rook takes, then he'll castle. How do I stop him from castling is the main question now. Can I even do it? I'm not sure if I can. Let's do that. Now again, let's threaten something. I'm sure he'll castle probably. But then I get the d6 square for my knight. But ultimately, at the end of the day, he's just up a pawn right now, and I don't have compensation, and he's got a protected pass pawn on c3. Overall, I believe I'm actually losing objectively in this position. If he is able to castle away, then I'm definitely losing. Yep, he sure does. Just gonna bother the queen for a little bit with this move. If he takes on a3, that's wonderful because I'll take on c3. But ultimately, I believe I'm losing this game. I believe the position is actually losing for white. But we will do our best to try to prove something here. Rook d1, knight d5. Let's play this move to take away that d5 square from his knight. I should have played bishop d6. Absolutely should have played bishop d6 because I could have won the b4 pawn. Big miss. Big mistake. Now all his pieces are coming in very nicely. Pretty sure he's just going to try to trade off all the pieces. He's going to play queen d7, knight takes, queen takes, knight takes. Yeah. Seems like the simplest way to proceed here. I don't think I'm going to trade queens, because that just outright loses, I think. No way to stop the passed pawn, basically, on c3. Now I'll play this. Unfortunate, he just protected. I think I should have played f4, honestly. Definitely should have played f4 there, taking over some more central square and moving, keeping the knight out of e5, the knight or the bishop out of e5. this point, I'm playing a lot of hope chess, just hoping somehow that he misses a tactic or something like that. Maybe he'll play queen g1 here. Maybe I'll get to try something. I don't know. See, now he'll play c2 and I'll win the c2 pawn. So that's a mistake he could make. Check. King e7. Now I've got a problem. He's gonna push c2. Schmuck. Oh, man. I'm gonna lose now. No way to stop this pawn. Yep. Absolutely nothing now. Man, very tough loss, actually. I felt like I had an advantage in this game, but just could not maintain that advantage from the end game. And he played almost a perfect game of chess. That's crazy. He didn't play almost a perfect game of chess, but he had very few mistakes in this game. So all of this was correct. So knight f3 is the main move here. Queen a4. And queen takes c4. Castle. Second most popular. Queen c2 is most popular. Queen c2. Should be 7. Then I played rook d1, which is not very well often played. c4 he played. Then I played knight c3, b4, still following theory, surprisingly. Move 11. Knight a4, queen a5, mistake. Should have played b3 here. So b3 protecting the knight, and then he plays c3. This is where he gets that protected passed pawn, which was very strong, and yeah, I just needed to blockade it and not lose the pawn. So after knight e5, I think I am definitely, well, although it recommends that, though. takes. The engine voluntarily goes into this line where white is down a pawn. Black has a connected passed pawn on c3, but black is significantly behind in development also. But I played f3 here. What I should have done is knight b6, rook d. What happens if he had played rook b8 instead? Then I could have played. Let's see here. Then I play bishop f4, and if check, then what? Queen takes. Oh, well, I can't play check because bishop f4 attacks the rook. Also interesting. So he had to play rook here when I could have taken here. And then played f3. Interesting. Well, I definitely missed that and played f3. And yeah, that's probably where the big mistake came in, because now is that bishop e7 was a mistake apparently. What should he have done instead? Queen b5. Keeping the knight on the edge of the board basically is the idea there. Not letting the knight get active. Bishop f4. Rook takes. Bishop takes. Then knight c4. a4. Queen c6. e4. Instead, here's where I thought that I could play this move, bishop d6. But why is bishop d6 still not good enough? He plays this. Oh, that, well, hold on. Oh, there's some tactics here. If bishop takes rook, I think there's queen takes c4 here. Oh, wow, I didn't even consider all this tactics. Now this. And this. That's crazy. I definitely did not see that. Well, I'm glad I didn't play bishop d6. Although bishop d6 is still the best move. But after knight d5, you can't take the rook. Wow. I played e4. And I just slowly fell apart in this position, I think. Just didn't have anything going for myself at all. Bishop e3, rook d8, rook d1. I didn't want to trade queens because this pawn would always be an endgame advantage and my pieces would be tied down to it. So I tried to maintain the queens to go for some chances, basically, some practical chances, perhaps. But black played extremely well, did not allow me any kind of chances here at all. Okay, so f4. Yeah, at this point, it's just a matter of converting, trading pieces. All he has to do is just trade the pieces and his pass pawn will just win the game. Not much to be done here, unfortunately, but I tried. I tried to go for some tricky stuff with the checks and stuff, but there just unfortunately wasn't anything. He did some of these checks just to gain time on the clock, I'm sure. So maybe here I should have played king c2. There's absolutely nothing to do to stop this idea of him playing c2 and c1. So that's the game. I think this game was probably lost mostly due to tactics, just missing tactics and not seeing things. So that's my biggest takeaway from me personally. I also don't think that I played the opening phase of this game very accurately. I think I could have played a little bit better, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know. I feel like the position that I got out of this was not the ideal setup. In future times, maybe I'll just take when this happens after bishop g2, he takes right away. Okay. So maybe what if I were to take this? What happens? Queen takes, and there's knight f3. And if e takes, I could just play like this. But I feel like this just solves a lot of black's main problems with. It releases the light square bishop, and black absolutely equalizes right away. So here I should castle according to the engine. And when knight c6 comes, then play d takes c5. Queen takes d1. Rook takes. Bishop takes c5. Then play knight b to d2. Interesting. c3 and accept this messed up pawn structure. And he castles also. That's interesting. Bishop b2, e5, and this is the setup that apparently is ideal. I personally don't like that I have that isolated pawn on c3, but it does take away some critical squares from black, such as d4 and b4. Here again, apparently I should have just castled, but queen takes c4 is still okay. It doesn't like castling here. Engine prefers queen b3. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the game, and I will catch you in my next video.